Hi, everyone. It's Tuesday, October the 19th, and it is every third Tuesday again. And today, Jonathan and I are going to go through some details. Jonathan's going to talk about user languages, a recent upgrade we made, as well as how you can sync your job title and what are the uses and use cases for that. And then I'm going to talk about a couple of other things after that, specifically about trade shows and then the cost of slow clocking. So Jonathan, take it away.
Okay, so what we've done is right now with Ready, you already can sync over your users. We can also sync over the expiry dates, your cost centers, quite a few things that come over with that user sync. What we've added are two new features that sync over, and one of those is the language of the user, and then also their job title out of Ready now. And I'm going to show you how you, with that sync, again, that's going to happen for you automatically. There's literally nothing for you to change. We can now start using those fields to add some additional functionality to NoahFace. So let me get out of this. Okay, so here I am in Ready, and I'm going to use these two users today as examples, but we have Anne Hathaway and then Catherine Jones, okay? So the fields that I'm referring to in Ready is this locale field, and you can see that Anne is set to Spanish, okay? The other field that we're going to use is this assignments to position, so position name. You can see that Anne is an associate. And if we go to Catherine, Catherine is set to the company default. In this example, it's English. And the position is, I created a new one called warehouse, okay? So nothing's changed. All this was just like normal. You have your regular user synchronization job that you've created. Nothing to modify here. That's going to automatically keep syncing like normal. But now if we go into the users, for example, Anne, you're going to start to see that there's now a type called associate, and she has a language of Spanish. And for Catherine, there is a type of warehouse, and the language is English. So as of right now, all of your customers that are currently using NoahFace, this synchronization is coming, this data is pulled in. Now I'm going to show you how you can use that within NoahFace to do some more advanced things or to help improve the user experience. So first thing that I think a lot of you guys will find valuable is we can now read that default language of the user. So right now in Ready, you can use English, Spanish, and French. So as the user goes and interacts with NoahFace, the screens will present themselves in whatever their language is, okay? So let me show you what that would actually look like. I've disabled the touch list for this example, just so I can easily switch between two users. So this may look a little different than what you're accustomed to, but same functionality. So in this scenario, I'm going to do a manual clock in. So I'm going to choose that I'm going to be Anne. So as of right now, you can see this screen. It's in English by default because we don't know which user's using the system. So when you're doing a registration of someone's biometrics, it's going to be in English because we don't know what their language is yet, right? But in this example, we select Anne, and you can see the entire screen is now presented in Spanish for her, and it shows that she registered a punch event, okay? Let me show you that one more time. There you go, hola Anne, and then it shows another punch event was registered. Those things are already written for you. They've been translated, nothing for you to do. Now I'm going to do Catherine, whose language was set to English, and you can see that this is now the standard screen and Ready. The standard screen in NoahFace that you would have seen before, okay? So that's how that functions. Let me show you how you can actually use it. So one, all of your default screens already set to go, okay? If you're going to use compliance, so these check boxes, the yes, no, this particular image thing, these are all written by you, okay? NoahFace doesn't write these. You write these for the customer, okay? So essentially, it's the same process of what you would do. Hey, I'm going to write my policy, and then I write it in English. And then the next piece would be just ES dash, and you would write that in Spanish. Okay. And then the same thing for French. It's FR dash, and then you would write that in French. So then they would have their actual customized language. So all the screens are already customized that are by default that you don't have any ability to modify. But anytime you're going to write something that's going to be customizable, you have the ability to go in and put these customizations in. Okay. And compliance is the primary reason for that. So go ahead.
So to clarify, Jonathan, that if my organization has employees who have a chosen language of English, and some are Spanish and some are French, okay, that automatically, when they're using the regular screens, it will be presented in the individual's language of choice. However, if you want to do compliance, you as the user need to translate all of those, and then the Spanish speakers will have a Spanish notification presented, the French, etc. Correct?
Correct. It's not a company setting. It's a per user setting. So it doesn't matter who's set to what. And that's the only piece that you have to do on your side within Ready is set what their language is going to be. Okay. You have to do this. It will then automatically come over. All the screens will be ready to go. The only screen that won't be ready to go would be compliance, because you're going to have to manually translate those. Okay.
Understood.
Okay, great. So the next piece that I wanted to show you was the position or job title or user type, whatever you want to call it, but it's the piece that gets synced over into NoahFace. So for us, we call it a user type. In Ready, they're calling it a position. Okay, but it's that field. So what I want to do is, in my scenario, and let's stick with compliance. So we're going to go and have the user clock in, and let's say it's a warehouse. So we have warehouse workers where they need to be presented with this screen for job safety. Okay. And then you have the admin staff that work in the office. They don't need this screen. This is irrelevant to them. Okay. Or you may have a warehouse worker that, packs boxes, and then you may have another warehouse worker that tears down boxes or something, and they may have two separate sets of requirements for equipment. So you could say warehouse worker, packer, warehouse packer, unpacker, give it two different names. And then you could present them with two separate items, because one that fits their job. So if you wanted the person in the office to get a COVID screen, great. If you didn't want them to have anything, no problem. So it allows you to really customize that out for specifically the type of employee and what job that they're doing. So in the example that I'm going to show you here, we specified earlier that Catherine was in warehouse, and that where is she? Anne Hathaway was an associate, so she's in the office. Okay. So when I go register a punch as them, and let me swap this over to the next item. So in this example, I'm going to do another manual punch, and I'm going to choose Anne. And remember, we pulled over Spanish, so you can see the screen's automatically customized for her. But I'm going to tell her to start her job, and you can see she wasn't presented with any sort of compliance-related question. She works in the office. She doesn't need a hard hat. Kept it simple, just a simple punch. So if she was doing touchless, all she would have done is put her face up and then moved on. Okay. So next person. Catherine, on the other hand, works in the warehouse, so she has her actual compliance agreement that she has to agree to. So she's gonna, and you can see her language is English. So we click clock in, and now she gets this screen. Hey, do you have this equipment? Yes, or you agree, and if you want to continue working, and you get that. So in this scenario, it's the same configuration, okay, within NoahFace, but you're getting two different user experiences out of this. Let me just show you what that looks like. So in this scenario, we're using a break mode. That way they can specify if they want a break or not. But you can see that I have a user type of warehouse, okay? And that matches the name of what came out of Ready for Catherine. Yeah, so Catherine is warehouse, and I made sure that this matched my configuration here. The next piece, I'm just telling it, hey, didn't display this image and whatnot. But because there's only a user type of warehouse, only the warehouse users are going to get this. So anyone else, no. If I wanted the warehouse users plus the associates, then I could put in associates. Or if I just took this line out completely, then everybody would get it. But what I'm specifying is just this one user type. And you can create this for multiple user types. So warehouse could receive one thing, associate could receive another one could have a third one, whatever you need that to be. So the deal is that's what I want you to get is you can customize out specifically what that user type is needing. So that comes into play with compliance. Okay. It also comes into play with conditional data entry. So what does that actually mean, right? So if I want to, let's stick with the warehouse example. The office staff, we don't care about collecting any cost center data information from them. They're going to be doing admin all the time. But if you do want to collect data from the warehouse workers, so you actually want to force them to select, hey, I'm going to be working in whatever, boxing or packing, and then another one for unboxing or whatever the cost center codes are. You can use this same user type to specify, okay, associate, we're not going to have them do anything, just do a touchless punch. But then for a warehouse worker type, that one I want them to specify to pick a cost center item. Okay, so the same cost center feature entries that you can do now, but now you could restrict it. Instead of it being everyone, you could restrict it to just certain types of users where you're interested in collecting that data. That is essentially everything that it is. So as a high level, within Ready, you can now specify their language and you can add in their position. You're probably already doing those two things. This will now filter over into NoahFace via the user sync. So it's probably already there if you go look at one of your customers, okay? And then you can go in and modify your configurations if you wanted to do some customization for those things, okay? But at a base level, immediately your Spanish users are going to start seeing NoahFace screens in Spanish. Same thing for French, same thing for English, okay? Nothing to do or change or modify. So that'll be a nice value add for your clients that do have mixed language workforce.
So thanks, Jonathan. And as always, we're here to help with any of that stuff if you need to get it set up or you want us to explain further. So I just want to cover two topics here. The first is trade shows. We know that trade shows are really important to you. And we found from over the last few months that having NoahFace on your trade show is a great way to engage with the potential buyers and customers at the trade show. NoahFace, having it on an iPad, being able to interact with people and show them how easy it is to register is something that works really well. You can do that a couple of ways. One is just input all the real names of all the people at the show, and then they can find their real names, or just use celebrities. And that's a bit of fun too. So you might register someone under a false celebrity name and say, do you want to be Lady Di or Lady Gaga, etc. What we're looking at on the screen here is a couple of charge keys that we've produced. On the right-hand side, you can see that there were some little compact face mirrors. We think that's right for facial recognition. And then a pen that's very popular. It actually bends in half, and it is a stand. That iPhone there is being held up by the pen, bent in half as an iPad stand. We can create artwork for you, such as what we see on the left here, that can easily go into any of these retractable banners or any other materials that you need. Just let us know what you want and we'll be able to produce it for you. But what we know from experience is that NoahFace is a really tactile, interactive, and effective tool to help you have a discussion and get some leads at trade shows. Okay, next topic I want to talk about is a concept, which is what is the real cost of clocking? And what I mean by that is slow clocking. And when you think of all of the different options that your various customers have, the time it takes for them to clock in and clock out is a cost to the business in terms of employment cost. And so in this presentation, I just go through the cost of clocking. So really slow clocking is frustrating for the employee, and it starts with the line that could be 2 or 3 people, or it could be longer. It is then exacerbated by the fact that punching in a password or a PIN code or some sort of ID that takes some time, or you might miskey it and it doesn't really work, and so you have to put it in again. It could be that you're using a system with multiple pages that you need to toggle and touch your way through. That takes time. And it could be that you're using some sort of biometric system, whether it's fingerprint, handprint, thumbprint reader, whether it's facial recognition. But these systems are sometimes slow. You know, the fingerprint, handprint readers, they don't work because someone squirted sanitizer on them. Or perhaps, you know, you're working in a kitchen and your fingerprints are burned off, and so the fingerprint doesn't think. Anyway, the bottom line is all of these things are really slow and really frustrating to all of the workers, but it's really, really expensive. And the CEO and the CFO, they should be well aware of how long it takes for people to clock in, both the individual, but also the people that are waiting. So we think it's worth you asking your clients, how much does your current time clock really cost to run, not just in terms of any monthly fees or hardware costs or software costs and stuff, but in terms of employee time. And to help you calculate what that cost is, we created something which is called the Clockulator. And the Clockulator is a really simple Excel-based system that just asks, with 3 data endpoints, what is the cost of clocking in? So we kick it off by saying, okay, how long does that clocking process take from when you present to the screen to when you get all your information in to when you're done? And we think that it's fair to calculate not just how long it's taking you, but if you have 1, 2, or 10 colleagues waiting to get access to the device, their wait time should be included in that. The next thing is, how many employees do you have? And lastly, what is the employee cost? And obviously that would include the rate of pay, but any other benefits and taxes and things. What is the true hourly cost per employee? So let's have a quick look at the Clockulator. And I am going to do this live as follows. So as I mentioned, 3 simple inputs from the seconds to clock, the number of staff, and the hourly rate. So in this example, if we say that it is taking us, including waiting time, 18 seconds to clock, let's say that we have 111 employees, and then lastly that the cost of employees is $20 per hour, including taxes and stuff, we can see in this example that there is about over $10,000 in time spent clocking, or $888 per month in this particular scenario. Now, NoahFace is lightning fast. It takes a second or less to clock in. It is the fastest clocking system on earth. The amount of time at 1 second per clock would cost in employee time just under $600 for the whole year, or about $50 a month. So, you know, it is only 6% of the cost of this alternate solution. So NoahFace is fast, and that means you're spending less time on clocking. In this example, we went on the basis of 4 clocking events per employee per day, 5 days a week, and 48 weeks of the year. We do have a more detailed system that enables you to make those adjustments if there's more clocking events, more or less days, more or less weeks, and we can calculate that as well. So anyway, we think that this topic of how long and how much it costs to clock is really, really important discussion for you to have with your clients. We are very happy to share the Clockulator spreadsheet with you so that you can run the numbers yourself, or if you want us to run numbers with you, we can do that as well. But that's what we think is important. The Clockulator, brought to you by NoahFace, to help you work out what is the real cost of clocking. Jonathan, what else have we got today?
That's it.
That's it. All right, we're done. We will see you next time at every third Tuesday. November is coming up, and I can't remember the date.
16th.
Okay, November the 16th. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.